For an espresso martini that is a little bit more Irish, you should try this right here. Let me show you how to make a Guinness Espresso Martini. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and like I said, today I'm making an espresso martini that is a bit more Irish. I'm making a Guinness Espresso Martini, and I kind of got the idea for this because I was playing around with different spirits and different ways you could use them. I saw places that were making like spicy margaritas with like types of poitín, which is this Irish liqueur that I'll get to in a second, and I said I could use that somewhere else. Let's make maybe like an espresso martini, so subbing out the vodka for this, and I wanted to make it a little bit more Irish, so I found a few recipes and tweaked them a little bit to suit the flavor profile I wanted to create, and added a bit of Guinness, which is that classic Irish beer, just like that, kind of dark. Well, it's really more deep amber, but if you look at it on camera, it looks like it's dark black with a little bit of a white foamy head on top, just giving it that classic style. Now, I did say poitín. If you're not familiar with poitín, it is kind of like Ireland's native spirit. It's not exactly moonshine, it's not exactly gin, it's not exactly vodka. It's kind of, you know, somewhere in between all of those. It's quite clean like vodka, but has a bit of a herbal character like gin, and has this bit of sweetness, almost like a white rum, but not very, very sweet. This one comes from the Cologne distillery. I've talked about Cologne plenty on the channel. Really, really nice. It uses 69.2% malted barley, 23% unmalted or green barley, 3.8% Maris Otter malt, 2% oats and 2% wheat. So you can kind of think of this as like an unaged whiskey, like it's a whiskey before it goes into the cask, but it is a spirit unto itself. It is its own kind of thing. Like if you put this into a barrel and left it for 3 years, you would then have whiskey on the other end. So this is kind of like an unaged whiskey, but it's not really like that. This also comes in at 48% alcohol by volume, so it does have a nice bit of strength. I've also got on the table here some coffee liqueur, because an espresso martini does call for a coffee liqueur. You could use Tia Maria, you could use Mr. Black, you could use Kahlua. Me here, I'm using the Cologne Gloria. You might sense I'm a bit of a Cologne fan, but this here is special because it's not like using vodka as a spirit, it's using poitín. So this here has that poitín. They added some coffee, they added some sugar, and then they rested it for a little while in ex-bourbon casks, which means that this here, it's got coffee, it's got sweetness, and it's got a nice bit of like vanilla from those bourbon casks. It doesn't have any like artificial flavors added to it, just has some nice cask influence. It does come in also at 20% alcohol by volume. Next up here on the table, I've got a standard single shot of espresso, so about 30 ml of it. I've got 50 ml of Guinness that I already pre-measured out from a can a little while ago. And I've got this here brown sugar syrup. 30 ml of that is going to be going into the cocktail. And I think that's enough time talking about the cocktail. It's time we make it. It is going to be a shake and drink. So I'm going to get my shaker tin. I'm going to pop a nice rock of ice into there before we measure out our ingredients. Starting off with my poitín, I'm going to be going in with 25 ml of my poitín, because like I said, this is nice and strong. It's coming in at 48% alcohol by volume. If you're using something like a little bit less strong, you could maybe go in with like 30 ml of it, because you don't want to overpower the cocktail with too much alcohol. But because that's 48%, it has a lot of flavor. I'm going to go in with 25 ml into there. And then I'm going to go in with 30 ml of my coffee liqueur. Again, like I said, this is the Cologne coffee liqueur called Gloria that comes from the Cologne distillery. It's made with poitín. If you can't find it, any other coffee liqueur of your choice will be fine. So that there was 30 ml. Then I'm going to go in with 30 ml of my brown sugar syrup. This is just plain and simple. It's about 1.5 parts sugar to 1 part water. Heat it up until it's all melted and you get a nice thick brown sugar syrup. So go in there with 30 ml. Get all that nice out there. And then I'm going to go in with my, like I said, 50 ml of Guinness and about 30 ml, one shot of probably a little bit warmer than room temperature espresso. Like I pulled this shot just before I started filming, so it's about 5 minutes old now at this point, just above room temperature. Into there, just like that. I'm going to pop the top on it and shake it away for about 30-35 seconds, maybe 40 seconds, until the outside here is really, really nice and cold. Okay, I think this is nicely chilled now. I've got this nice kind of sheen of like frost almost on the outside of my cocktail shaker. So I'm gonna bang the top off it and get ready to strain it out. I've got a nice big chilled espresso martini glass here, so I'm gonna pop the strainer up top just to catch that big old rock of ice. Just like that, pour it away. Oh yes, just like that. Now, while this settles, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I put out whiskey reviews, I put out poitín reviews. Every Wednesday, I put out cocktail recipes featuring whiskey and sometimes featuring poitín every Friday. And if you want to see more like that, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a note in the comments below if you think there are other cocktails I should try out. If there are other kind of Irish twists on classic recipes that you'd like to see me try, let me know, because I'm always on the hunt for new cocktails. So now, let's let this settle for just a second before we garnish it. Okay, I think this is about as settled as it's gonna get. It has this really nice clean line of like foam up top, but for a little bit of a garnish, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with a little bit of cocoa powder, just a little bit, just a tiny little bit into there. It does go a long way, and I'm just gonna pop this over the top, just like that, just to give me this nice kind of chocolatey vibe to it, because if you've never had Guinness before, well, I'll tell you, it has a nice kind of almost roasted chocolatey grain flavor to it. It has this really nice character, so that little bit of chocolate powder up top will enhance that. So that right there is how I make a Guinness Espresso Martini. And now that's enough time waiting, let's taste this cocktail. It is quite nice and full, so I'm going to go in carefully and taste this cocktail. Cheers and sláinte. Oh, that's lovely. That is really, really nice. So the Guinness, like Guinness has this like, hang on, I've got the can just here. It has this like, yeah, like I said, it's beer, but with this like dark chocolate, cocoa, like espresso note to it. So it has this really nice character that does come through in the cocktail, but because you got the coffee here, you got the nice kind of herbal, not bitter, but nice herbal botanical notes from the poitín, and you got the brown sugar coming through there from that syrup. You get this really nice, I don't know, just really nice character coming through. Yeah, the coffee is definitely evident. The Guinness is there. The poitín, it's definitely, you can tell it's not vodka, but you can't really taste the poitín because there's so much other stuff going on, but you can definitely tell there's a little bit more flavor than you would get from like a Smirnoff vodka or something like that. You just get this really nice character coming through. So I'm gonna keep on enjoying it, and I will see you next time. Sláinte.